Hello, good evening and welcome. I'm in the Christmas spirit tonight. This is as close as it gets. You're here tonight. I'm Zaza, the inappropriate quilter, and I'd just like to say thank you all for coming. Michelle's first, and Melanie. Hi, Nikki. Oh, hello to everybody. Hello to Michelle and Melanie. I hope you can hear me okay tonight because I couldn't find my microphone. It's vanished. I think I've got a poltergeist. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Mary. Hi, Misty. Hi, Chris. Hi, Linda. Irish Sail Lady. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Danelle. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Joy Talita. Hi, Brian. You're all chatting away to each other while everybody's saying hello. Oh, let's see if I catch up. I don't want to miss anybody. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Kathy. Not seen you in a while. I hope you're doing okay. Hi, June. Hi, Joe. Hi, Joyce K. I think I'm nearly caught up. Hi, Regina. I think I saw Regina there. Yes, I did see Regina. I'm not hallucinating. Okay, I think I'm caught up with everybody. As say hello, welcome. Tonight, is there a weird echo? Or is that just on my end? Anyway, tonight we're going to make these reusable gift bows. So everybody's been making reusable gift bags, and I saw this on the Janome website, or YouTube rather, page, and it's reusable gift bows. And I thought they'd be quite good to put on the reusable gift bags. So tonight I'm going to show you, I've actually got one made in advance tonight to show you. This is what we're going to be making tonight. All the measurements are on the Janome YouTube tutorial, which I've linked in the description. And I'm going to show you how you do these with your strips. You do need, for this one, you need 3, 6, 9, 10 strips of varying sizes. 3 of each size, and then one little one that goes in the middle at the end. So you start off, I'm going to put that down there so you can see it okay. Your strips cut. And then what it said on their thing to do, and she used one of the hot hemming tools, but I just found that to be a faff. I couldn't, is fold over 1/4 of an inch on each side. So I just eyeballed it. I thought that'll do, as long as they're all kind of the same size and you're fairly consistent, it's not really going to matter. So you fold in and press about 1/4 of an inch, and then do the same on the other side. And I like this fabric, and I'm sorry, I can't tell you what it is. I've had it in my stash for years, before COVID years. So it's quite old. And then you fold it in half, put the edges together, and press again. Now, these strips have all been pressed with best press. And I think you do need something on them to give it a bit of body, but also to help keep the creases in. Because the ones that I had done the other day and then they'd sat for a day or two, excuse me, I'm going to have to blow my nose. You can see them here. They've kind of unfolded a little bit. So I don't know, they would be even worse if they didn't have anything, any stabilizer in them. There's a couple that I've already, these ones need repressed. So I have done it in stages tonight, so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, because watching somebody sew down the edge of 10 strips is not my idea of fun, and I can't imagine it would be yours either. Yeah, back when fabric was a reasonable price, Brian. But this one I like. I've got two. I've got it in the red and the green, and I really like it because it's sparkly. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but it's got a sparkle to it. It's glittery. If you can see that or not. The gold's really glittery. You can really see it on the gold one. You can see the shine on the gold. It's really glittery. It's got gold glitter on that, the red one. The green one has silver glitter on it. And then for this one. And then we'll just head over to the machine. Now I used a matching top, matching thread colour for the top stitching. On the tutorial that I watched, she did nice decorative stitches down the edge of her strips, which look lovely, but it takes forever because you've got to go slowly with the decorative stitches. Brian's saying that would make an awesome thumbnail, but I'm not sure what he means. So the that's hot, burning my fingers. The yeah, the decorative stitches looked really nice, and if you had time and we're only making one or two, then it would be quite nice to do the decorative stitches, but I'm just doing a plain old top stitch. And I'm going to move the camera around in a second. So I'm just about to move you. So if you get motion sick, shut your eyes now. 3, 2, 1, go. And then you can see what I'm doing, I think. Can you see okay? Yeah, I think so. You can see from there. So I'm just going to top stitch down the edge. I'm going to move the needle over so that I can line it up with my foot better. Like that. And then I get a stitch fairly close to the edge. And I don't know how I've managed to do that. I've just managed to stitch a crease in this. So I'm going to unpick this. So you need 3 strips. To say that the strips are 3 inches wide, and you need 3 for each size. And the one that she showed on the website had 3 layers of it, but you could go as big as you wanted. You could do 5 or 6, or you could make a big gigantic bow, you know, if you had a really special present. You could do a huge bow on it. A picture of me in that hat. Yeah, no. I want people to watch me, not turn off. It was really funny. We've been getting the Christmas decorations out, and we're late this year. Because we live in a plague house. And I got a sign out, and Evie said, I've never liked that sign. And I thought it was really cute. It's just it's on one of the radiators in the hall. And it says, "This house believes." And I said, "Why don't you like it? I think it's really cute." She said, "Well, it never made any sense to me before." And then she went, "Oh," and started to laugh. And both my kids have dyslexia, and quite badly. And I said, "What was the O for?" And she went, "I've just realised what it says." And I said, "What do you mean you've just realised what it says?" "It says this house believes." She said, "Yeah, but I always thought," she said, when she was much younger when we got it, I've had it for a long time. And she said, "I always thought it said this house be elves, not this house believes." And she said, "And it never really made sense. Why would you put on a sign, this house be elves?" So there you go. The joys of being dyslexic. Hi, Deb. Hi, Jess. So yeah, my poor dyslexic daughter thought it said this house be elves. But some of the things that she comes out with crack me up. So I don't have to stitch down both sides, but I always prefer doing both sides when I'm doing strapping or anything like that. Which is partly why I did it in advance, and also partly why I didn't do the decorative stitching, because I thought, you don't want to be here for a week while I do that, watching me stitch 10 strips together. It'd be bad enough you watch me doing all the few that I've got. There's a thread somewhere. Here it is. I saw it. I hate threads. And when you see me just snip them like that, I'm not just snipping them onto the floor. I've got a bin right next to my sewing machine here, and that's what I'm snipping things into. So I'll quickly do these ones as well. I'm going to shove that there, because I use it more as a guide for my eye, even because it's not next to the strip. I find it easier keeping the strip parallel if I've got something to look at. And I don't know why, but I've started stitching this one on the wrong side. So it's going to be a bit wonky. I'll put that one on the bottom and we can see it. When I did these earlier, I chain pieced them all through the sewing machine. See, it's going to be a bit squint. And that made it much easier. I just did them all down one side, and then I did all the way down the other side. I think the pressure on this press if it's too high. you just want to make sure that you're catching that edge seam with the fold over pieces. So just going to have a quick look at the chat, see who else has come in. Giovanna's come in. Have I missed anything in the chat? Katie's here, Greenland Culture. Katie's here. Hi, Katie. Hi, Giovanna. Thanks, Kathy. Kathy's saying give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Oh, you've been working on your panel quilt, Nikki. You need to put some pictures up in Discord so we can see it. Dawn, your fabric containers were lovely. I really liked them. And that's the other thing. She came home. She was working from home yesterday. She borrowed my mouse. She left me the mouse. But she's gone away. She's taken the little thing that goes in the side of the laptop to make the wireless mouse work. She's gone away with that. She hasn't left me that. She's left me the mouse. Of course, the mouse doesn't work without the little dongle thing to plug in. So one more, and then we'll start assembling it. But they actually come together really quickly. And if you're doing a few, I think the bit that takes the longest is cutting the strips, really, and pressing them. Once you've got them all pressed, it comes together really quite quickly. As I say, it would be nice with a decorative stitch going down the edges, but decorative stitches take a while. And I'm impatient. I should really be the impatient quilter, not the inappropriate quilter. Right, so once you've got all your strips, and I've done some ahead of time, look at me, being organised for once. Right, so once you've done this, this is the tricky bit. This is the trickiest bit, I should say. It's not hard, but it's the hardest bit of all of it. And I'm going to move the small camera back round. So ready, 3, 2, 1. I'm just going. There we go. Is you fold your strip in half, and then you take this side and you fold it round to that side like that. Then you turn it round and you take this side and you fold it round to meet it. So you have 2 loops like that. And that's it. That's how you make the bows. You take that, and I'm going to put a clip on that. And I'll show you again the next one. As you fold it in half, and I just put a little finger crease in it, so and then put my thumb so I know roughly where I'm going. So you fold underneath with the strip and then over to the top. And I just put it, because it's on a diagonal, I put it over that finger press that I made with my thumb. And then again, you go underneath and then onto the top. And you fold that over. And I'll put a clip on that one. And we'll sew them all together at the same time. You see the size difference between them. There's 2 inches between each length of fabric. So again, fingers, oh, that didn't really crease. Over the middle. So you sit from the top, underneath and back to the top again. And then turn it around and then under, you fold it under and then back over and overlap the 2 bits. And I've gone from one extreme to the other, from the giant clips to the mini clips. And then the last one, finger press it. And then you go under and over, and it's on diagonal. And then turn it around and you go under and then over onto the top like that. And that's, doesn't really matter which way you do it, that's what you want it to look like when it's done. And then you just take it over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch over, and I'm going to do it on the diagonal because they'll line up on the diagonal, and just stitch across to hold it in place. And I'll turn you back round so you can see what I'm doing. So 3, 2, 1, I'm going to move. There we go. You don't need to see all my rubbish in the background. Let's see a bit. Right. I think you're on tilt slightly. Yeah, that'll better. Yes. And then so I'm just gonna, it's easier if you sew it from the back because then you see where your overlap is. And I just go round and I just turn it. I hate back stitching. I always end it with a nest. And then cut your threads. And that just holds it in place. Just snip these threads off. I need to get new glasses. These are varifocals, but the reading bit's not right on them. And I'm fed up taking them on and off. Bring these other two over. As I say, it's see on the front, you can't really see where you're going to sew, so it's easier to flip onto its back where you can see the join. And you just want to make sure that you're getting all the layers, all 3 layers in where you're sewing. And that bit was a bit close to the edge, so I'm going to just go on the down just to make sure I got them both. And you won't see any of this in the middle. It's all going to be covered up. Make sure I've got the overlap better this time. I was looking at the red mark on my presser foot, not where my needle is. So I moved my needle over. They're not the brightest thing to do. My excuse is it's late here. So my brain capacity for the day was full. I've filled it up. There's no space left. Or I suppose you could look at it from another point of view and say it's empty. I've used it all up. Been drained. Last one. This is one of the bigger loops. That I lost. So I had to cut another one. And I will cut. Snips. Right, I'll have a catch up on this chat. Yeah, you could put a hair clip on them, Giovanna, and you could use them for lots of things. It'd be quite nice on a hairband or something for a little girl. Hi, Agnes. Nice to see you. Hi, Brenda. We're making reusable gift bows tonight. Brian's saying something to Nikki about her fabric haul. Nikki always buys beautiful fabric. Beautiful fabric. And then she posts about it. You should follow Nikki. She has great buys. Yeah, Brian, I get for it. If you've got a big, massive gift or something like that, a box. But you could make them any size, really. Once you've got the principle of how to do it, it's easy. And I'm sorry, I'm slow on this thing because it's got one of those stupid little pads on the laptop that you have to use your finger, and I hate them, which is why I had a mouse. Had being the word, because the small angry one stole it. So the next thing is you layer them up in threes, and that's the outside layer. So you put three together and then you stitch across the middle. So I've got the next one to do. So I'm going to turn the camera back round so you can see. That would help. Or I could just lift it up here. That might be easier. So you put one there and then one across and then one the other way. That's all you do, and just make sure they're all overlapping in the middle. That's it. That's how simple it is with your three pieces. And then the hardest bit is getting this under your machine and stitching across. And I think I didn't alter my stitch length, so I'm going to have jumped stitches. So I'm going to make my stitch length a bit bigger because that's a lot of fabric that's going through. And I'm just going to turn around and go back. Yeah, I've got jumped stitches. And then I cut my threads, and then I go the opposite way in an X so that I'm getting both sides to make sure I've caught everything properly. You can feel the thickness when you've got all the layers when you're sewing it. I've got a nice little fabric nest there, and that way, if it has jumped any stitches or anything, you can, if you've gone backwards and forwards, you know that you're going to have holding it. It's going to be held securely, is what I'm trying to say. But I thought this was quite cute. I'd not seen it on any other tutorials before. So that's your, basically, a layer. And then you stack them up. And you want to do them in between, see how they sit in between each other. So we'll get the next layer done. 1, 2, actually, and then 3. I think if you were going smaller and making smaller bows, you'd want to make them thinner, the strips thinner. Because these are actually, the smallest ones are actually the trickiest ones to do with the width of the strips. I'm just going to lift that and go over here. And then go back again. And then I'll cut all the threads. And that's the middle layer. So then you've got your 3 layers and you just line them up like that. Now what she did was she used a hot glue gun, and I found my glue gun, but I couldn't find the glue. That'll be in a safe place because it's too thick to sew through all the layers. I'm going to turn you back around so you can see. It's too thick because you've got 3 layers on every loop. So on one of these, you've got 9 layers you're sewing through of fabric. So when you put them all together, it's just too much fabric. So she hot glued them. And I mean, you could actually just glue your strips. You wouldn't even need to sew them if you were in a hurry. But I just used this. It's kind of like an E6000 type of glue. And I just put a dollop, a good dollop. There's a technical term for you. And as I say, just do them so they're kind of off-center, so the loops fill in for each other. And try and even it up so it's looking central. And then another layer of glue. Oh, I think I put too much glue on there. I was reading the chat. There, so that's your 3 layers. And then you've got this hole in the middle, you see. So for the middle loop, and the one I did on the tartan bow, I made it too big. She just glued that straight away with the hot glue. But I'm just going to put a little bit of this, and it sets quite quickly, this glue. But if I'd found my glue gun, I would have been using the hot glue. I'm going to put a bit on this side too to catch both pieces. And I'm putting the lid on quickly because I do not want glue on my pressing mat. And then you just want to stick that. I'm going to just stick that down. There's thread to irritate me. Brian's driving somewhere for Nikki. I think Brian's teasing near Nikki's sister. And then you just glue this one in the middle. But you could use, to attach it to something, you could use sticky Velcro. You could glue it on, but you could use sticky Velcro. I suppose you could use magnets. There you go. There's your gift bowl. You just have to wait. Obviously, this one you have to wait on the glue drying, but quite effective. And the other one she showed how to do was this one, and it's done slightly differently, and you use ribbon. And I thought that looked really nice. And I've only done 2 layers on this one, and I still think it looked the nicest. So what you do on this is you cut your fabric slightly thinner because you've not got any fold overs that are going to be in a seam allowance. You've got your strip of fabric and you fold each bit into the middle so they meet, and then give it a press. It's the same length of fabric and you fold it in to meet in the middle. And then you get your ribbon, and I put a little bit of, I used an Elmer's glue stick on the back of the ribbon to hold it in place while I stitched it. Because it's a satiny ribbon, it just makes life easier if you've got a bit of glue on it to hold it. And you just eyeball that and put it down the middle of the ribbon. And then you stitch the ribbon. That's squint. I don't mind if there's more at one side than another, but I don't want it being on the diagonal. Get there eventually. Yeah. That'll be okay. Pull over a little bit. Like that. There we go. And I'm just going to put the iron over the top of that to dry that glue so it doesn't gum up my sewing machine. And on this one, you stitch down obviously each side of the ribbon. I'll need to change my thread because my top stitching thread is green. And as much as I like green, I don't really think it'll look nice and green. And I need to change my bobbin out as well. So for this one, when I was doing the top stitching, I had the bobbin thread matching the fabric, and that's not the right colour. The bobbin thread matching the fabric, and I had a spool of thread matching the ribbon. So I've got this goldy colour. It's as close as I had to the gold. So it's not a bad match. I just thread up the machine quickly. This is where I have fun and games. Need to snip. You can see fine when I take my glasses off. The close-up things. Right. This hairband's getting on my nerves. I'll keep it on for a little bit longer. I will be in the Christmas spirit for a little bit longer. I'm just going to turn you back round and you can see me stitch this one. So here we go. And I'll stitch this up. And you just want to stitch down each side of the ribbon. I suppose if you had a nice decorative stitch that was quite wide, you could just do, that would be really nice if you had red thread or even a sort of shiny, you know, what's the name of the thread that's, I've got some, and it's got a high sheen, decorative stitch down the middle there to catch all the edges would be really nice, and the red on top of the gold. Possibilities for this are really quite endless. Just going to quickly stitch down both sides. But I think this red one with the gold ribbon was my favourite out of all three. I do like the red sparkly with, I think because there's gold sparkle. I like red and gold at Christmas. So the gold glitter on the red fabric with the gold ribbon is nice. And as I say, if you did a red decorative stitch down the middle of that ribbon, it would be really nice. But this one, I only did the 2 layers, not the 3. And I actually think that's enough. Look, see, I think that's enough structure in this. So this is just the one in the middle to go in the middle. But I only did the 2 layers on this and glued them. I'm going to turn you back round here because I'm finished at the sewing machine now. Turn you back round. So yeah, this one only has the 2 layers. And to be honest, I think the definition you get from the fabric with the ribbon makes this one look fancier. Even though technically it's smaller. Put a little bit of glue on here. A little bit of glue on here. And then put a lot of glue in here. Cover up all that mess with the threads. There. Good night, Giovanna. Sleep well. But that to me is the most effective one. With the ribbon, with the contrasting ribbon. Even though it's only got the 2 layers of loops. I think I would do more like that with the ribbon one. And that's the bows. Kathy's talking about watching the Friends reruns. Yeah, I watched them too. And because it was so long ago watching them the first time around, sometimes I've sort of half forgotten about the episodes. But yeah, so that's my favourite. That on a nice, if you had a nice box, a gift box, would look lovely. But even if you didn't have the third, just that one, just doing one layer like that, that's a nice bow. So when I saw these on the it was the Janome YouTube, and as I say, I've put the link in the description. You could go as big as you wanted, you had a big massive present. You could just keep going out and get making each loop is 2 inches bigger. You cut the strips, so you could go bigger and bigger. You could have this massive big bow if you wanted. Hi, Mona. So that's tonight's gift bow. And I have actually got some English paper piecing decorations, some that I've made over the years. I'd like to see some of them. A box of goodies. And these are the ones, I didn't make this, I got this from my sister-in-law. But that's how you do the wreath with just 6. It's just a hexie flower with the middle missing. And then you do 2 hexie flowers and stitch them together. And she's put a little bell on the bottom. But if you don't want to do 2 hexie flowers, you can just put felt on the back, cut felt sheet to match. So we've got that one. And then she also did this one, and that's just 3 hexagons stitched together. And she's got template plastic in it and put beads on it and another bell, but they're really effective. And then I did this little one. This is made with diamonds, and I'm not sure what size these diamonds are. I think they're 3/4 of an inch diamonds. Yeah. Oh no, they're 1/2 inch diamonds. Are they? No, they're 3/4. I think they're 1/2 inch diamonds. And that's just, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diamonds on the top, 5 on the bottom. It's quite pretty. You probably see it better than that, yeah. See it better there. And that's got a bell in it. It jingles. And then there's these ones with the hexagon, diamonds again. Diamond flowers. Thought I'd let you just have a quick look at them. I think the lighter one's shot. There's a bigger one. It's been bashed. Thanks to Norman shoving stuff in the box. That's partly why the box is here. These ones I'm going to stuff them and see if I can pop out the squished bits. And there's a mini. Yeah, that first one I showed was a 3/4 inch because that's a 1/2 inch hexagon. And the little bit on the bottom is just made with 1/2 inch hexagon, 1/2 inch diamond. The one on the bottom is just made with 4 diamonds. Makes that nice little double pyramid. It's got a tiny, teeny bell on the bottom. And then there's some of the folding ones. Got them off a friend. And then we've all got one of these robins. Their names on them. Big fat robins. I've got them off a friend. These are old now because these I've got one for our last dog. They're quite old. And then this one hasn't got a pull in it, but they're crochet baubles. You just crochet 2 circles and then stitch them around a bauble. So that's my hand. And that one of my friends made me these little reindeer. That's my handmade decorations. I thought you'd quite like to see. I've got some pottery ones. They're just little stars. They were quick and easy that I did. And I did some for Evie, and then I've got a reindeer with a pom-pom nose. So that's my stash of some of the homemade decorations that I thought I'd quickly let you see. But the box here is when some repairs are needing done to them. But those bows, I think I'm going to make some of them. See, I've got a whole bag of those baubles. That I did. I like these ones, the multicoloured ones. This is a tiny little one. You just crochet 2 circles and then join them around the bauble. So they're great for using up tiny little scraps of wool. But I'm going to definitely make some of these bows to go on boxes if you've got gift boxes. And even some of the reusable bags. Because what I thought would be good is if you made a sack without the pull tie in it and stitched a bit of ribbon a couple of inches down from the top so you could gather it like that with the ribbon and then have the bow there like that. I thought that would be nice rather than a drawstring bag. Just making a sack and tying it up with the ribbon and then putting a bow on it. I think that's what I'll do with some of the bows. Because the sacks are also easier to make, they're quicker. All you've got to do is finish the ends, the top edges, do a double fold over, stitch it, and then stitch around the 3 sides, and that's it. That's quick and easy. And then some of these bows on them. And as I say, I think with the ribbon bows, you could get away with just having it that size, like that. So you'd only need 3 loops in the middle one, and that still looks quite nice. And the bigger one's nicer, but I think that with the 3 layers would be too much. And that one's huge. And that one's huge. I actually think they're a bit too big. So I had to do a tartan one. Being Scottish, I needed a tartan one. So that's all my how to do tonight. Thought you'd quite... As I say, I've not seen the bows on any tutorials anywhere. I've seen loads of things for different usable bags and things, but I've never seen any for the bows. And everybody's talking about their favourite show. Hi, Laurie. So the instructions and the video tutorial about the measurements are all in the Janome YouTube video, which I've put a link to that in the description. So if you click on the description, it will take you straight to that video and you'll get all the measurements for them. But I did think it was a good idea, and one that I haven't seen. I try and do things that they're not all over the internet, so you're not watching 20 of the same thing, because we all get fed up with that. I know I do. I know you will too. And that's us nearly an hour. So is everybody organised for Christmas? Whatever you're doing, whether you're staying at home and having a quiet day, or you're out and about with family or friends, or going out for lunch. Are you organised? I'm not. I'm way behind. I've got to write my Christmas cards tomorrow, so all the international ones are going to be late. Mm. Hey, Brian's going to make the bow. Yeah, Brian, you just cut strips of fabric. So any fabric, and actually any, you want probably like a small multi-directional print if you've got something like that. But really, you could make it with any fabric. Yeah, Kathy, you're behind on shopping too. Thank God for online shopping. Is all I can say. And I've got a pile in here, is the only space. So I've got the, oh, wait till I'll quickly show you these. I got these. And I'm almost tempted to get another box, so I've got a box to keep. But you do know how I love my hounds. I'm quite famous or infamous for loving my Basset hounds. Wait till you see these crackers. They are fabulous. Look at that. It's a Basset hound. It's Humphrey the hound. And he's wearing a little jumper, Christmas jumper. But I'm actually tempted to say, no, you can't. If I can't get another box, I'm tempted to say, no, you're not getting to pull these. I'm going to keep them because they are so stinking cute. There's Claire. See, Humphrey the Basset hound. And they actually stand up on the legs as well. I just think they were brilliant. One of the faces has come off. It's in the bottom of the box. That's a good start, and then they stick it back on upside down. And to glue that one back on, at least it was in the box. That's probably with me pulling it in and out the box to show people. Because there's only going to be the 4 of us this year, and maybe my mum. My dad will not come down, but my mum might. So I'm quite looking forward to a nice, quiet Christmas. No stress, no hassle, just us. Yeah, Nikki. Yeah. I'm the same when I see corgis. It makes me think of you. But the Bassets, when I saw them, I had to have them. It was not I wanted, I needed them. And maybe in the new year, after CoatCon, there will be the sound of the pitter-patter of tiny little Basset paws. I've not looked into that yet. But I definitely think a puppy will be on the cards next year. I hate not having a dog in the house. Hate it. So yeah, those bows, and the ribbon ones are easy and really effective. But I think if you've got decorative stitches on your sewing machine, the decorative stitches is the way I would go, and a contrasting thread would be really nice, right down the middle. She did one down each side, but on that I think it would look fabulous down the gold, a red stitch. Yeah, Kathy, it's been a hellish year for people with their dogs. The amount of people I know that have lost their dogs. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that and upset people. But yes, We're going to have hounds on the table at Christmas. Brian's got £100 puppy. No, sorry, Laurie's got £100 puppy. Yes, you just got another dog earlier in the year, Brian. But it's hellish. So on that happy, cheery note, I'm going to bid you all good night. And if you make bows, let me know. And I've just realised I'm not divorced, but I forgot to put my rings back on after I had a shower today. So I've got, in case any eagle-eyed people notice. But yeah, if you're in Discord, pop the pictures in. If you make them, let me see them. I must set up the community page where people can post pictures on my YouTube, so that if people make pictures of things that I've done, they can post the pictures on the YouTube, and then we can all see them. But I did like these bows, and as I say, I think my favourite is the smallest one. I think it's the most sort of eye-catching going to be on a present. But there you go. Thank you for joining me tonight. And as I say, the information's all in the description if you click on the link. I will say hi to I will say hi to Norma and Kathy, and say hi to Bob too. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Deb and Lisa's. And Sunday's a busy day on YouTube. Deb and Lisa are on first. And then Donnell's on. Donna's still not feeling great, so she won't be back, but I think she might be posting a video. Ian isn't, he's still at Disneyland, Disney World, so he won't be on. But yeah, it starts off tomorrow morning with Lisa and Deb. Yes, stay warm and stay safe, people. And try and make someone smile by saying something appropriately inappropriate. And I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.